That's the kind of thinking you need to bring to financial services in the new digital era. Not, is my banking app better than your banking app? Dude, it's about no banking app. Banking apps gone.
Yep.
Embedded banking, that's the next frontier.
Okay, so welcome back to the FORUS podcast.
It's good to be back. It's been too long.
It has been too long, but for good reason. We've had some cool stuff developing in the background.
Indeed.
The elves have been working hard.
Indeed. Yeah, so maybe let me just start off with that and just a shout out to everybody. It's been a bit longer than we'd intended for this episode. But for, as Clayton says, for good reason. Clayton, we've all been busy over the last couple of days putting together something I think really amazing, a tool that's going to help us get to the next phase. But before we get onto that, and whilst we're shouting out, I also just want to shout out to people who gave us feedback from the previous podcasts. People who took the trouble to, actually give some feedback, comments, just show their appreciation. People like Gwen, MJ, Alan, who am I missing? There were so many. Jeff,
Dan.
Dan. So a lot of the people just saying that, Zach, that they're excited to see that we're on our way, and how can they help? What can they do?
Just while you mentioned Zach, hopefully he's listening to all of these. I know he has been.
Indeed, yeah.
I think we need to invite him onto the podcast at some point.
It's a great idea. I think we should do that. He has such an interesting story to tell. He's a real maven, a real entrepreneur. So good idea.
Cool.
Thank you to everybody. This is what this medium's about. We're getting some nice hits. It's getting to the right people, and everybody's showing their eagerness to get going. We've got an amazing group of people lining up to get stuck in, which is a good segue into what we've been doing the last couple of days, because here's the challenge that we sit with. We now need to take all of these communities that we've been working with internationally over the last 8 years. We need to take all of our industry experts. We need to take all of our different countries. We need to take all of the expertise, and we need to create a mechanism for people to share so that everyone can learn from everyone else. There needs to be a way to sort of connect people, investment opportunities with investors and so on. It's all about connecting the ecosystem. We've been doing this for a while, right? How many iterations have we done of building tools to manage this exponential scalability that we need? We've tried various approaches. Some have worked, we've tweaked, and the tool set that we have now really is dynamic. As dynamic as it needs to be. It's actually, for me, it's like a new paradigm. It's almost like a merger between social media and web. I don't know.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said dynamic and modular, which is great. We can plug things into wherever we want to plug them into, and take people on a full journey, not just a sales funnel or something like that. It's
interactive.
It's interactive.
It's about the digital marketplace. I don't know. Maybe we're going to come up with a new word for it.
Yeah, and I mean, we're still fleshing it out. We've got the tools. We're still building on it, but
and I think that's
ready.
That's also key. What is critical now to make this work is we need to scale everything out. We need to scale out our capability to roll this out. So all the people that we've worked with over the years now need to sort of collaborate on a single platform. And it's amazing the technology that exists to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we tried various things, and like one of the things you find out really quickly is you can't launch a new social network.
No.
But yet you need a way for people to communicate.
So it's part social networking tools.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a new platform.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be so interesting because you're also segmenting things differently. And it's a different way of thinking about business. When, early sort of visionaries in the space, in the digital space, like Seth Godin, I was reading him 10 years ago, was talking about how things are going to transform and things are going to be done differently. What we're doing is we're segmenting things, we're cutting through things in a different way. So, for example, you create a dynamic marketplace for business. It's a logical place to provide banking services, but you don't have to be a bank. So you're slicing technology and service delivery in a completely different way. At the end of the day, where's Uber going to make their money? Ultimately, it's got to be, in my view, where they're going. Free Uber ride. And they'll just make money from when you land where you're going.
Yes.
They'll sell you the meal. That's what I'd be looking at. Imagine the data that they're collecting between Uber and Uber Eats. Oh my goodness.
I actually watched a YouTube video on that, and they say they're sitting on a gold mine. Seth,
figured that out. He understood that the banking as we know it is going to change, and that's it. So I call it embedded banking. There's so many things that are now embedded through APIs. Can you imagine if every developer had to develop some mapping technology? You just drop in Google Maps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it gets incrementally better every day. I see they add stuff to functionality to things that just, every day they get better. They never stop.
Yes.
And that's the kind of thinking you need to bring to financial services in the new digital era. Not, is my banking app better than your banking app? Dude, it's about no banking app.
Mm-hmm.
Banking app's gone.
Yep.
Embedded banking, that's the next frontier. So it's really exciting because I think that with the technology that we have, we're seeing the embodiment, starting to see that crystallize, where we're creating a marketplace where we can provide customers with solutions, not, banking, business advice, payroll services, where you can provide like a holistic environment where, pardon me, a holistic environment where you can provide a whole range of services that can be paid for on the platform, that are cheap because the people who are supplying the products and services have a big market, so they get the benefit of scale, so that we can compete with the big players, and that'll help democratize and break down the monopolies in so many spaces, in so many areas. Because what protects monopolies at the moment is capital.
Yes.
You need a license to be a mobile operator. You need billions to set up the infrastructure and warehouses that Amazon have and the fleets. I mean, what billions and billions, the technology that they have and the levels of sophistication and what that does to cost, and the scale of having Amazon Prime, where they get this, there's hundreds of millions of dollars every month in revenue to build the, infrastructure. Difficult to compete because it's capital intensive. With the FORUS model, we managed to break that.
Yes.
We become like the Spotify of technology providers. So, that's the other element that we had to bring in, is we needed a platform to bring in the technology providers. And we've got our first technology companies coming on board. So very exciting stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I want to show people what it looks like. It's one of those things. And I was thinking today, I've been in IT, was a long time. Yeah, like 35 years,
Cool.
35 years.
When I was zero.
Shut up. Okay. And every job I've ever done, and I've installed thousands of systems in businesses across many industries, having worked in consulting and done point of sale and ERP technology and accounting. I mean, really all sorts of business in all sorts of different areas. There's always pressure to go live with the system. And I've always had to hold back to get the thing ready before you go live. And I've implemented most of the technology I've done has been in real-time processing environments like point of sale, at airports and 24/7 supermarket type environments. So real-time, those kind of demanding environments, banking. So you can't afford to have problems once you go live. Any small problem in a live environment can become a massive problem. Whereas if you just take your time and test and put a bit more time into planning before you start, you don't rush out there. But because everybody wants results, I saw a lot of IT projects fail because the managers of those IT projects give in to the pressure to get people off their back. It's the Masada story, it's about running too soon. We need to get our tools right because we need to scale this thing. And we've got a couple of more days of just bedding it down. And I think we're almost there, because what's so exciting is not only have we managed to connect everybody, but we've also managed to integrate the World Economic Forum methodology for the establishment of trusted networks into the whole DNA of the thing. Amazing stuff. And we're using technology that is also very empowering. We're at a point now where I think we were chatting about it the other day, where you no longer need to be a software developer to actually develop great user interface, great user experience technology that you can deploy into the mass market. And it gives you that flexibility to dynamically make changes without having to go through the development process, that whole life cycle.
Exactly. All these
writing
products,
it down,
yeah,
going to development, going to you now dynamically can just add something.
Absolutely.
Somebody has a great idea. We now want to get this information about this segment. Boom, no problem. And do it on the fly, and it's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. All of these products that we're using, all of these tools that we're using, they all have integrations into a multitude of different other platforms. I think it's what they focus on mostly. I mean, look at Typeform, for instance. Every day I open up Typeform, there's new integrations into other softwares.
So I think what we should do is just do a little roll on the bottom there. the products that we're using. Also, I think on our website, people can check out our partners page and have a look at the links to the product set, and you can see. And in our resources, we've got links to some of the amazing online training on these things. These are tools that we use that we want everyone else to use, right? It's about sharing the tools.
Exactly.
That's the key to the platform, right?
Exactly.
We've got to use the tools to build the platform. We've got to use the platform to build the platform, because that's when you get the geometric growth and adoption that we need. Exciting times. So
Exciting times.
I think I've hopefully whet everybody's appetite. Keep the feedback coming. We're going to get some more guests on. The other thing that we're going to be finalizing before our launch of the Connect platform and the various new things is we're going to put together an education webinar schedule, and we'll be timing it for the various time zones. So we need to get Canada and India aligned as well. So some really exciting.
It's quite a challenge most of the time to get them to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we found that, like, for example, for the calls where we've got to have Canada and India at the same time, we have it at about five-ish South African time. So these are the things that we're just ironing out. To get back to my story about being forced to get going, there are a lot of people who are saying, "Hey, we're ready, guys. We know that everybody's chomping at the bit to get going. We're just putting the last few tools in place so that once we get going, we don't have to slow down again. We can just let this thing scale and take its natural
course. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just from what you were saying about the webinars, all of that information will be publicly available through all of our assets anyway. So if you miss a webinar, you'll be able to watch it afterwards. It's all going to become a repository of all the different tools and ways to use the tools and all of that. Yeah.
Oh. And I think also soon we'll start getting some micro content out. There are some bits and pieces in the various content that we can scale down to shorter versions, because let's face it, you have to be committed to watch 20 minutes of anything, right? In today's world, online, digitally, that's a long-term relationship.
Exactly. I mean, look at TikTok at the moment. TikTok is it's the platform that's booming the most at the moment. 99.9% of the content, 15-second videos, vertical videos that people film upright, and it's completely taking over. Now it's up to us to get the message of FORUS across in 15 seconds.
Economic freedom, That was 3 seconds.
Cool.
So they call me 3 Second Sunny.
You're proud of that?
Economic freedom, right?
Okay. Okay, cool. Then also just a reminder that on the Anchor app, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can send voice notes through. You'll see a link in all the descriptions. Also on Twitter, please just send through your questions, and we'll answer them on the upcoming shows. Yeah, so in upcoming episodes, we're going to start talking more and more about the platform. I think we need to do a technology segment where we can dive a little deeper into the blockchain. And
I think in terms of feedback from people, if they can please
let us know what they need to hear.
Suggestions,
Absolutely. And then we can start talking about our sandbox submission and the website we're building around that, all the different aspects of that.
And what I would like to do is take them through the website, do it interactively, and we can actually show, rather than just talk about it, we can show it.
Absolutely, we'll do that on Zoom. We can share the screen, and then we can convert that into a podcast and into a video. Yeah.
Excellent, because 15th of May is around the corner, and that's when we have to submit our sandbox. So we need another day or two to finalize the tech, and then we've got a couple of days to pull it all together. But it shouldn't take more than that. And that was my whole speech about holding back and waiting till we're ready. What we have to do and to get people to the next level is not difficult. We know we've done this a number of times. We've done our testing, our alpha, our beta, and etc. But you only want to do it once.
Yes.
So it's important to.
Yeah, I mean, with the scale that we're talking about and the communities that we have all around the world, and the thousands and thousands of people that we are dealing with all the time, we can only do this once.
Yeah.
If we have to keep communicating with that many people and that many communities on different iterations, it's never.
I know that shout out to Jeff, and to Zach, and to other rugby lovers. I know two big rugby players, refs, etc. To me, it feels like now we're it's 79 minutes on the clock. We've got a 5-meter scrum. It's output in, and if we all just give a good push, we can push this over the line and score the winning try. So that's where I feel we're at. So we all need to just grab this thing now by the scruff of the neck and turn the lights on.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's do it. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys.